Welcome to Lead, Grow, Live. This week's guest is very special. He means a lot to our community, and he means a lot more to you than you might know. It's Michael Soileau. He's the director of LFT Fiber. What I want you to pay attention to is his experience. This is a guy from Mamou, Louisiana that went around and worked with some very large company, gained a lot of experience, and came back, and he is delivering at LFT. Here's Michael's episode. Michael, thank you so much for coming in, man.
Yeah, good morning. I'm glad to be here. It's great.
I'm fascinated with the brand. I'm fascinated with the company and the service that you guys offer. But what I'm most fascinated is, how does a guy from Mamou end up going around leading large companies and then coming back to Lafayette to lead one of the most important companies we have?
It's a question I get asked often, and I appreciate the interest because, I want people to recognize the value of coming home, really. I was fortunate when I got out of university. I went to a large company. I worked for Ford, and from there, it just kind of continued. And I ended up at Comcast at their headquarters in Philadelphia. Spent a lot of time going back and forth to Europe with our assets there. After 20 years, I retired. It was a great run. Comcast afforded me a lifestyle, that was awesome, and always remember it very fondly. Had a great team members, great peers that taught me a lot, and it was just a great experience. I retired and I went back to school and got an MBA in international business because my expectation is that I was going to continue teaching at the University of Texas, where I had guest lectured for years. Made a last-minute call and decided that's not at all what I wanted to do because academia is, frankly, the most political environment you can work in. So all that to say, I ended up at a smaller firm in Philadelphia as their CEO, did that for 18 months to kind of steer it right. I knew that my parents were of an age that I needed to come back and spend some time with them. Had already bought a home here, and the day after I made the decision and spoke with the partners to leave the firm in Philadelphia, this conversation started about LFT Fiber, which was, of course, then LUS Fiber. And after I spoke with the mayor and her team, Rachel Godot, et cetera, it was a no-brainer for me to accept the role. The power of broadband I've seen change lives across the country and work that I've done at Comcast and other companies. The ability to come back, the opportunity to come back to Louisiana, to Acadiana, and be able to bring broadband to these rural parishes that had nothing really except dial-up was just too good an opportunity to pass up, to give back to
serve.
A lot of communities that raised me, frankly. So it was just a great opportunity to come back and give back.
That's wonderful. And I truly appreciate it because I grew up in Baton Rouge and I came to Lafayette, and Lafayette is home. I mean, it is home. The people are amazing. But what's always fascinated me about coming to Lafayette is it's very metropolitan. I mean, you can get anything you want in Lafayette, Louisiana. But when we brought fiber, and we were, I think, I don't know really, you could tell us, we were a first mover. And we were not going to get left behind.
Right.
And so we brought fiber and made it our own. And that's a big decision for a smaller metropolitan area.
Absolutely. Look, Lafayette was one of the first three in the country to do it. I followed Lafayette, not just because I was interested in what they were doing, because it's my home area, right? But from a competitive position, because I was sitting in Philadelphia and I had regions all around the country, and watching this interest peak in delivering municipal fiber to the home, and that was a competitive threat to us. So I watched it from the beginning and watched it grow, and it was fascinating to me. And kudos every time I have the opportunity to say thank you to any of the leaders that were there and started it. I do, because and they're all around for the most part. They're all still around, and by the way, have all been very gracious to me and asking whatever they could do to help me succeed. They wanted to. So kudos to them for having the foresight. That was very innovative. to think through it.
It was very innovative and very unselfish, and it was quite an investment. And so, I don't know, maybe I have to have those guys on, but what do you think their thought patterns were?
Yeah.
Just let Lafayette lead, or?
I think it was a couple things. One was that at the time, LUS was creating its own fiber network because it needed it. They had the conversation internally about, well, if we're already doing it, why wouldn't we? Given that the national players that were in the market at the time refused to invest more. And so they after the back and the forth and the continued asking, please deliver better internet, they just said, well, we'll do it. And the community obviously voted for it. It was a huge margin. I think it was 60%, 60 some odd percent to 40 some odd percent.
Yeah.
So that started the build out. And 20 years later, here we are.
That's incredible. And you have some major national players in the game, but y'all come in here and lay a footprint that is pretty large.
Yeah.
You've done very, very well.
We have just under 800,000 feet of fiber in the ground right now, and we touch 7 parishes. A lot of that was made possible by the federal dollars that were funded to the Gunbow grants that we applied for and received. And we're just wrapping up the last of our grants. Gumbow's just about wrapped up completely. NTIA is wrapping up, as well as our EDA grant in Jennings. So we're really, really excited to be able to bring broadband to all these communities, and some that are the poorest, like Evangeline Parish, where I grew up, one of the most rural and poorest parishes in the state. And to be able to bring true broadband that, by the way, is affordable, is significant. I mean, it helps kids learn. It helps people go to the doctor. It helps people, apply for jobs. It's so powerful.
And the information, at your fingertips, literally at the speed of light. I mean, it's crazy.
That's right.
And we were McKinley and I were talking about affordability before you got here, and it's becoming a no-brainer.
Yeah, it is.
LFT.
Yeah, it was one of the first things that the team and I worked through was, how do we go to everyday pricing? We wanted to make sure that we could deliver a price point that was of value to the customer, and they didn't have to worry about calling every 12 months to get another promotion.
That's right.
And to be able to get another discount, et cetera. So why don't we just offer them the best value for the best product and be done with it?
Yeah, I love it.
And so we introduced everyday pricing probably 5 months ago. And, the reaction.
Is it kind of a no contracts?
No contracts.
It's so smart.
Yeah. I mean, and we're continue to look for ways to innovate our product and pricing, right? I mean, we can't just sit on our laurels. This is an opportunity for us to actually go faster than ever before. And so that's what we're really focused on right now.
Yeah, this is pretty fascinating. With your experience in very large companies and bringing it back to Lafayette and doing it. So right now, I think you have about 100 team members.
We do. When I first got here, we were probably at 60 and change.
Yeah.
It was under 70 employees, and we had 29, I think, openings that had not been filled. The first job was to really assess the positions that were open. Do we still need them, or do we, the right job descriptions in place? And we hurriedly hired those that made the most sense. And then we've just continued to build on that until
as you're
today.
Growing the company too, though. You're growing the demand, and so it requires more people.
That's right.
So it sounds like you're moving at a pace that makes sense.
I think we are. Yeah. I think we are, and I'm very happy with the results. We still have a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah.
But where we started, 15 months ago to where we are today is really a telltale sign of the commitment the employees have to delivering the best product to the citizens of Lafayette. Yeah.
So you working with these very large global companies and coming down to, I always refer to it as little old Lafayette, Louisiana, right? But coming down to Lafayette and you have 69 folks, how different was it from a leadership perspective to, get these guys going? they're clear about the vision, and
right.
You're very clear about how you articulate it,
right,
and getting them engaged and contributing like you have.
You know, it's interesting because I've run organizations of all sizes, and issues that affect large organizations and small are generally exactly the same.
Correct.
It's a purpose, it's a mission, it's believing in the vision, and it's giving your employees a reason to believe. You've got to spell it out, but you've also got to give them a reason to believe. And I always have defaulted to data-driven decisions. Mm-hmm. What does the data tell us? And so we spent a lot of time cleaning up our data, and then we started making good decisions, and then they started to believe, oh, we can do this.
I love that.
And we had 8 priorities the first 13 months I was here, and we've completed the last of those with the move and the purchase of the building downtown. And
beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The employees deserve it, and it's a great place for them to go out, and they can have lunch downtown. They can stay for dinner and invite their families down, et cetera. But what it really was an exclamation point on this is how valuable you are, and your commitment to the community is rewarded by this. By no fault, just the way we've grown up, what was LUS Fiber was always somewhat treated as, it was kind of an afterthought, because it was a little bit of a redheaded stepchild, because LUS is so big and it delivers such great service for utilities and water and sewage, et cetera. And here was a little bitty struggling upstart called Fiber, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things I saw is that they had to have that reason to believe. And so, little by little, we did it. And by the time we got to the 8th initiative, which again was the building, it was like a big hoorah. They were really like, okay, the culture's changing. We feel it. We believe it. And now we can start to innovate and really go fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to back up, and I kind of want to give you a light bulb moment. Right? So what I heard when you said, I like to look at metrics and make decisions based upon data. You were able to take the data they had, and you just did some, let's call it data mining. You looked at what were some of the things, and you made the decisions. And then everybody bought into it because the data proved out probably what people thought, and obviously what you thought. And I find that fascinating. And I feel like more leaders need to look at metrics and develop that skill set. Was that something that you developed over the years? Or
it really was. I mean, I've always worked for very financially driven companies. First was Ford, which was completely driven by policy and procedure, and everything was finance. And then Comcast was really financially driven as well. So I came to understand that even though your gut said to do this, you had to have the data to prove that out before you could invest in going to do it. Yeah. And so I've used that, and it's benefited me more times than I can count. Yeah. And to your point, I think you're right that if the data's there, then people don't just think that, oh, it's just Michael saying that we should. Yeah. Yeah. There's the data saying we should.
That's right. That's right.
And I think there's an appreciation for that.
How did you determine the 8 initiatives when you jumped in? And what was the priority? If these are public, that's great. But if they're not, I'm just interested in the thought process of discerning and defining those 8, and then prioritizing, and then moving them and knocking them out of the park in 15 months or whatever you said.
Yeah, it took a lot of effort. I won't deny that. But, we have a great team. What I discovered when I first got there was that we had a cultural problem, right? That there was somehow along the way, people lost the belief in the power of what they were doing, and they felt somewhat neglected. You have to remember that we are part of the city, and it kind of depends on what is the mayor's priorities that determine what the priorities are for that administration, fiber being a part of that. And this is not about looking back and any knock on any other administration. It was just time for a change and to sort of regroup. And I think with our mayor president and her focus and appreciation, remember she was with the Acadiana Planning Commission and was in large part responsible for enabling LFT Fiber to get all of the grants. So knowing that she and I shared a vision to make it the best possible organization, I just really dug into what are our biggest problems.
Yeah.
So number one, we were under-resourced. We had all these open jobs. Number two, and this all leads to cultural challenges. Number two, we didn't have a website that worked. We didn't have any digital journey for our customers. Customers are used to being able to at least shop, if not purchase online, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't have that. We had pricing that was not consistent with the market. We needed to rethink the way we brought our brand to market. We needed a new brand that really differentiated ourselves amongst our competitors and really sort of stood ourselves on our own and apart from LUS.
Correct.
So people understood that we weren't a utility in that sense of the word. We were a business, a consumer-facing business that sold to residential and business customers. And then lastly, we needed to really think about our organizational foundation, which generally speaking is going to be a building of some sort. And so we were in a building that really didn't facilitate collaboration. It didn't facilitate innovation. Everyone was in little offices throughout the floor. We were on multiple floors that were disjointed. And, I felt that if we did the first 7 things right, and that delivered results that then made a good financial decision to move the building and move into the building, then we would. And that's exactly how it ended up. The North Star was always the culture.
Correct.
And to achieve, success builds upon success. It's much easier to build on success than it is failure, right? So with each of these successes really shaped the new culture of LFT Fiber. And it's about, again, delivering the best product, the best service, being innovative again, and really delivering creative product that is going to really enable consumers to do what they want to do with broadband and with TV and with telephone, and the same on our business side. And it gave people, sort of a renewed focus. And some people weren't in it, right? Some people that's not where they wanted to be,
and they were grinding.
Yeah. And that's okay.
It is.
And they found other opportunities. And I applaud people. Go and be as successful as you can for you and your family.
Yeah.
But on the whole, we retained the majority, 90 some odd plus of the employees, and then we grew them.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It is a major success story. And I do appreciate you sharing some of the priorities and initiatives and how they developed building upon each other. And now you're NewCo, right? You're a new company with a new brand. And I did want to ask you about the brand, but you pretty much explained it.
Yeah.
But I guess that leads into a question that I have is does it limit us to this Acadiana area, or is that intentional?
Yeah.
We just want to stay community-based, or are there other plans?
It's a great question. I think our focus today is delivering those product and services in the parishes we're in today.
Yeah.
And if we can grow, a few more hundred customers on this side or that side by extending our plant, that's fine. But the brand was really about recognizing who we are and where we're from. I didn't want us to lose touch with us being Lafayette, and by the way, Lafayette.
Yeah.
And so it was really important to have LFT in there. And I thought the LFT was a great nod to the airport, which is their call signals. Yep. It's easy to remember, and I just wanted everybody to understand we're fiber.
Yeah.
Period.
Huge, and it's very clean. It's very current. You're in a technology communications world, right? And so it was a wonderful job, I think.
Thank you. Our friends at Brand Russo.
Okay,
came through.
Good.
Yeah, they
Very
really
good.
did a great job with us.
Yeah, and the website looks great.
Thank you.
I mean, everything you're doing is doing well. So thank you for coming into Lafayette, coming back home.
My pleasure.
And growing such an important company to our community, and because it's community development, it's economic development, and y'all are doing important work.
I can't thank you. And Jeff, really, I to underscore what you're saying about economic development, it's interesting because we have looked at the data, and while companies might not say fiber's the reason they came. Without fiber being here, we would not have been under consideration. 100%. So anytime that I have an opportunity to talk to anyone who's contemplating moving here, moving their business here, moving their employees here, or hiring here, right? And maybe their headquarters is in Idaho. It makes us no difference. We want to make sure that they understand that their employees, their headquarters, will have the best possible service.
You now have the foundation for wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do with this. Can you share any of the plans for the future and the growth and development of LFT Fiber?
Absolutely. Look, we've put a lot of money in the ground and our infrastructure. Again, most of that was EDA, NTIA, and Gumbo grants. But it's important, nevertheless, to capitalize on that. So that's what we're going to be focused on. Number one is maximizing our investment in the ground and making sure that that investment pays off for the city of Lafayette. Remember that every dollar spent at LFT goes right back to the city, regardless of if it's a customer buying service in Lafayette or in Eunice or in Evangeline. It doesn't matter. Number two is really refining and bringing to market the best possible business product suite that we can. Ours today is very robust, but we're on the verge of migrating our platform. And with that migration will enable us to offer even more competitive voice product, application-based product, of course, always high-speed data that can't be beat. But of course, businesses want their business phones as well. And then I think lastly is, delivering the best return to the city of Lafayette, right? We want the city to have the best return they can on the investment that they made in fiber. And again, that was 20 years ago. We will retire the debt in 5 years.
That's fantastic.
And
because it was a lot.
It's still a lot, but it's a lot less today. And we're on track to retire the debt in a little over 5 years.
Congratulations. That's a big deal.
It's a really big deal. And so we're looking forward to that.
Back to Mamu Boy.
Yeah.
Goes away, does good, comes back home, right? A lot of that has to been a lifestyle decision. And like, I want to come back home. I'm comfortable there. I've done my thing. How's your life now?
My life is great.
That's so good.
It is. I love being back in Lafayette.
Yeah.
You just, when you're gone, you forget how good it is here, how good the people are, how kind-hearted the people are, how willing they are to help you, either personally, professionally. I mean, I always tell this story because I think it's just really sort of the touch point of who Lafayette is. I was probably here 3 weeks in, and I got a phone call from 7 businessmen, from one business person representing about 7 of them. They invited me to lunch, and I went to lunch with them, and the only thing they wanted to know was what could they do to help fiber be successful.
Wow.
So I had 7 really intelligent business folks around the table that were tried and true, proven, and all they wanted to know was what could they do to help fiber be successful. Yeah. And I thought that was just so indicative of who we are in Acadiana. So I love being back here. It's a great experience. My family's all here. My parents are both with us, and so I get to still see them. And they're an hour away, still in Mamu, and it's a short enough drive that I can have dinner with them, and so it's great. It's great being back.
That's great. Now, one of the things that's most important to me is your team members. And like you said, there were some that may not have understood it. They didn't get it, and they graduated and went somewhere else, and other people have come in. How would you say that their lives are working under a leader as yourself and the team that you've really, really solidified?
Look, I'd hope that they would feel as though they're working in an organization that has clear vision, that has a clear mission, that holds itself up to the ethical standards and that is focused on doing the right things for the citizens of Lafayette. I think that working for the city of Lafayette, you're a municipal employee, you got great benefits, but you don't always make the most money. Sure. You could go to some other provider and, with your experience and probably make some more money. So what's important for us to do is to create an environment where they love coming to work, where they love hanging out with their people, their teammates, their peers, where the space is great, where they can have fun and where they can continue learning. And so that's what we're trying to build. And I hope that, they all feel that. And I think they do to some extent. But again, I always operate under, we've got so much more work to do. Nothing's ever done.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Right? And as it is.
Yeah. I always tell each one of my direct reports, my senior team is, my job is to make you as successful as you can be, period. That's my job. If I'm doing that job well, then everything else falls into place. Yeah. So, that's my mantra, and hopefully we'll continue to see some good stuff.
I kind of want to wrap up with just a speed round, few questions, right? Because you have so much experience, what was your defining role that helped you prepare and be most prepared to take on LFT Fiber?
I think, no doubt that it was the worst job I ever had. It was, I'll never forget, I was at Comcast and we got a new senior leader. He came in and, evaluated us, for a bit. And then about 60, 90 days into it, he came and said, Michael, I want you to move over to sales and I want you to run our sales channels. Yeah. And I thought, I don't want to do that, but I didn't have much of a choice. And the person that I was going to report to, he and I just saw the world differently, and I knew that was going to be an issue. Yeah. And it was an issue, and it was a struggle day in and day out. But at the end of it, I learned on how to manage through difficult circumstances, how to manage difficult people, how to find the good in every situation. It really taught me how to take a cadre of such unique individuals across the country, taught me that value of understanding people's motivations and how to drive that to achieving the mission and the goals. So I think that while it wasn't my most favorite job, and it was probably, my least favorite boss, it taught me the most. And I think it prepared me for, anything else that would come my way.
That's a wonderful answer. It really is, because that is what you call gaining experience. Yeah. Who's been the most influential person or a couple of people in your life?
Oh, that's a great one. I think early on in my career at Ford, one of my first managers, her name's Pam Steele. She's an awesome woman. And she just taught me the value of asking questions. Understanding the value of process and procedure, which the two are very different things, because if it's process and procedure and you're asking questions, that kind of rubs, the wrong way. But she taught me how to do it to get to the best answer. And I'll never forget some of those lessons she taught me.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
The last one is like, if there's something you would want the listeners to know that I haven't asked, what would it be?
I think it's just a simple reminder that LFT Fiber is your company. It's not mine, and it's not the employees. It's the community's company. When you support us, we have more money to support the community. And we do that in ways that I think people see, but like the festivals that we sponsor and support, some of the nonprofit stuff that we support, and education is a childhood education, internet safety and learning, sports and culture are three of the things we support. But so much of what we do is behind the scenes. Yeah. And what enables us to do that work is people investing in us by using us and buying our services. And just, that's not me asking to come buy our services. It's me helping to spread the word and remind people that you own us. This is your company. So use this.
Yeah. I honestly think that reminder, I'm really glad because I just kind of thought, let me ask a few questions at the end. And I so appreciate your answer because I don't know that it's reminding us as much like explaining that this is what's going on. And a lot of people may not know it. So thank you for that answer. And thank you for your leadership because I know it's sincere and I know that you're, I can just see, well, there's 1, 2, 3, you have a vision and you are focused and that's where you're heading. So
well, thanks for having me, Jeff. It's a pleasure.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in to Lead, Grow, Live. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you picked up on some of the vision and focus that Michael has, and it's driving the excitement and the participation at LFT, and he's delivering results for you and me, members of the Lafayette community. If you know somebody who would be a great guest on the show, please email me at jeff@getcompanygrowth.com. Until then, please like and subscribe so you never miss an episode.